so it's one of the fastest tracks we come to.
Tough test for the drivers. Going to have to be aggressive if you want to win this race.
When you go into these championship runs, you're always so tight and so on edge.
The champion looking every bit the champion tonight here in Texas.
And welcome to Texas Motor Speedway as we get ready to set the field for Sunday's race with qualifying for the Sprint Cup Series. I want to take a look at the chase grid prior to the starting lineup. Jimmy Johnson with a win at Martinsville a week ago. 7 other drivers fighting for the remaining 3 spots. 2 races and a win will advance you to the championship 4. And that's what those 7 drivers are looking for. A pass to the championship 4 in Miami. Hello, everyone. Alongside Steve Letarte, Jeff Burton, I'm Rick Allen. As we get ready to set the field, this is a very fast racetrack, a very fast racetrack. The track record over 200 miles an hour, the average here. Are we going to see speeds like that in this qualifying session because it's a little bit cooler and overcast?
We'll see really high speeds. I think this track is really dual personality. In race trim, it gets very slick. You slide around a lot, lose a lot of speed as the run goes on. But in qualifying, it has so much grip. You see these incredibly high speeds.
Well, and you mentioned that race trim, and that's why qualifying is so important. At these high speeds, even though this track has multiple grooves and you can move around, it's much easier to start towards the front. It is a 500-mile race, but you want to try to get into a rhythm, run some laps, and to do that from, say, the front 5 or 6 starting positions, much easier on car, equipment, and pit crew.
And Steve, earlier in practice, we saw Carl Edwards was second quickest in that practice session. Does he have to have a win? Does he have to have a great qualifying effort and a win if he wants to run in the championship 4?
Well, he has to have a great run. Is that a win? I don't think we know, because what are the other chase competitors going to do? But unless a few of those cars have mistakes and lose 10, 15, 20 positions, that at 32 points below the cut line, I think the 19 team is thinking win. I think that's realistic. Even if it's not a win, they need to contend. A top 2, maybe top 3. If they're outside the top 5 or 10, I think they're going to put themselves in an absolute must-win at Phoenix.
And Jeff, what about his teammate? I mean, Kyle Busch goes out there and virtually on his first lap slams into the wall trying to get out of turn number 4. What kind of a hole are they in?
Yeah, really coming to get the green flag. He, had a problem, got at the racetrack, got in the wall really hard. You see right here, just, the car bottomed down. Looks like to me it bottomed out, and he just chased up the racetrack, and big damage. Had to get the backup car out. But this is what teams are made of. I mean, this is what the better teams are able to overcome this. We heard these were brand new cars for all the Gibbs teams, but, this is a really good team, very prepared, and I think that, a good team shines. We've seen teams with backup cars come and win the race. Wouldn't surprise me a bit to see Kyle Busch qualify well and run well on Sunday.
Joe Gibbs Racing still looking for a win in the chase, although they have 4 drivers in the round of 8, still wanting a spot in that championship 4. Welcome back to Texas Motor Speedway. No Limits, Texas. We get ready for qualifying before the drivers climb into their cars. Let's go to Dave Burns.
And Rick, down in the inspection area now, waiting on the 78 of Martin Truex Jr. to roll out. He spent quite a bit of time before he got to the templated area here working on a fix to satisfy NASCAR. There was some material on the front end of the car that they wanted reduced, and so they went to shaving off that material and making the front of the car kind of around where the Toyota logo is there on the front, making that into spec for NASCAR. It was a visual inspection, Cole Pern told me, the crew chief, and now he rolls into the final inspection there and the templates, and hopefully soon, Marty, we'll roll off and get ready to grid for qualifying.
Well, Dave, no doubt about it. Inspection has certainly been the story today. In fact, there was no chase car that made it through inspection in just one pass with the LIS and the templates as well. So Carl Edwards among those many teams who had to take several passes. In fact, the average is about 2 to 3 passes through for the chase cars to finally get through. The interesting part about all this that we'll have to research afterwards and find out what NASCAR does is, are there going to be penalties? Will there be warnings issued? And if there is a team that already has 3 warnings in the bank, that may mean they lose their pit stall selection this weekend here at Texas. You certainly don't want to have that happen in Homestead, Miami. If you ask the teams, they say NASCAR's cracking down. If you ask NASCAR, they say the team's pushing the envelope a little bit more in these final few weeks, trying to win a championship. But no doubt about it, an inspection, certainly a story here before qualifying even gets going, Rick.
And if I'm a team who has 3, I want to make sure that I get the 4th prior to getting to Phoenix or Homestead so that I can't get 4 when it comes to Homestead and Miami.
As long as that doesn't keep you from getting to Homestead.
That's right. That's a great point. Jimmy Johnson, he already is headed to Homestead with his win at Martinsville a week ago. Get the latest NASCAR news, results, and highlights delivered straight to your inbox. Never miss a story or last lap pass by subscribing to the official NASCAR newsletter today. Visit NASCAR.com/newsletter. Most championships ever in Sprint Cup Series history. Obviously start with the king, Richard Petty, 7. From 64 to 79. Joining that very small fraternity, Dale Earnhardt, 1980 to 1994. And will Jimmie Johnson join that club of 7 championships? He's already got a guaranteed spot in the championship 4 in Miami. Let's go to Dave.
Standing by with Jimmie Johnson, whose helmet today, and I'm sure we'll get a shot of it at some point, is an homage to the 7-time champions. How important was it for you to pay tribute to them?
It was a very cool idea that my helmet painter Jason Beam came up with and did a great job. Anytime you can pay respect to those two, you do it. And it's just a fun way for me to have them on the helmet. It says Chasing 7, has a picture of both their faces. And if things go well, maybe we can be up there with those guys at the end of the year.
Chasing 7, allow me to understate this. You were not at the top of the charts in practice earlier today. What's going on?
To be honest, we're just trying to be a bit aggressive. So we stayed on one set of tires through the qualifying practice. We feel like we could learn more in race trim with another set of stickers. With qualifying not being uber important for us this weekend because we've transferred, we're just trying to do something a little different. So we stayed on one set of tires. We'll see if I feel like we should be in the top 10 when it's all said and done. But we'll see how it goes, and we'll worry about the race tomorrow.
Using the cards they dealt themselves at Martinsville. Marty?
Dave, Joey Logano was on the top end of the chart. Sorry, I ran into your Coke drink there. My apologies. We hit elbows there. I'm robbing you of chug points. So I know about practice now. You only had one mock qualifying run, but clearly the car was pretty quick.
Yeah, it is. AAA Fusion's got a lot of speed in it, actually. I thought it was good in race trim when we switched over and got out to make one qualifying run, and it had decent speed, and I felt like the driver messed up a little bit in that lap. So it gives me some confidence that the car is good. I just got to go out there and do my job and see what we got.
That might be bad for everybody else, Rick. He messed up and was still 4th fastest in that mock qualifying run earlier.
He owned up to it. Take a look at the rules for group qualifying. Round 1 will determine the fastest 24. They advance to round 2. They have 20 minutes to go out as many times as they need to or want to try to advance to round 2. Then the fastest 12 will be determined in round 2. They only have 10 minutes during that round. And then round 3, that is when the pole will be determined. Only 5 minutes for the top 12.
And Rick, we're going to talk a lot about tires. But remember, they have to do all of this. All of this qualifying format here is on the same set of tires. So on a track where tire grip goes away with laps, it's going to be interesting to see, will cars be able to go faster in round 2 than they do in round 1?
Yeah, could somebody save a little tire in the first segment, save a little tire, not push as hard as perhaps someone else, and then have more speed in round 2? That'd be a risky move, as competitive as it is, but if you have enough speed to do that, it would be a big advantage.
We were hearing from Jimmie Johnson earlier, and there's the helmet. The likenesses of Dale Earnhardt and the King, Richard Petty, on the back of Jimmie Johnson's helmet. Chasing 7. And if you have to have a goal, that's a great one in this sport, to become mentioned in the same breath as Dale Earnhardt and Richard Petty.
Think about the time, the amount of years that Jimmie Johnson has done this in. It's relatively short. When you think about how many championships he won 5 in a row, and it's been a short amount of time that he's had the success. So really, there's no question he's one of the best ever. He's proven it over and over and over.
And think about the year. This summer, self-admittedly, Jimmie said, I would have never thought this would have been the year.
Right.
We could have tried to chase for 7. They didn't have the competitive edge they had in years past, but they've improved. They figure out a way to make the chase, figure out a way to advance, now making it the farthest they've ever made it into the chase in this format, and then wins at arguably one of its best tracks. It's hard to say it's his best track with as good as Dover and other tracks, but wins at Martinsville to guarantee a shot at a championship in Miami in a few weeks.
Well, I'm glad he thought this perhaps wasn't the year, because I didn't think it was either by watching him run. Matter of fact, I didn't have him picked to go out of the first round of the chase.
And we see Joey Gase, the first car on track, 23-year-old out of Cedar Rapids, Iowa.
And Rick, I'm a little torn. Jeff and I have had this discussion up here. 27:45 was fastest in practice. The track record's a 26:98. About a half a second. Why that seems like a long way. Overcast, the lights, you see them start to reflect off Joey Gase's car here. The lights have come on. It's cool. you know, I don't think either of us know how much these teams are really going to pick up, Jeff.
Yeah, and to be honest, I don't know why they're waiting. I'm not really sure why they've decided to go to the end of pit road and wait and not make the run. I think if you have speed, it's been cloudy, been overcast. I don't think the track temp's going to come down a great deal between the first and second round. But I do think if you went ahead and went early, you would have your tires possibly the coolest they could be, and maybe that would be an advantage in round 2.
I agree, but the counter argument is, you mentioned the strategy of saving a little tire. Well, it's hard to do that if you don't know how fast you need to run. So as you see the cars lined up, you also have cars still sitting in their pit stalls, like the 22 of Logano, the 4 of Kevin Harvick, cars that we think perhaps have a chance to win the front row or the pole position. So maybe they want to see the lap times established, Jeff, so they have an idea of how much they can maybe leave in the bank.
Well, Joey Gase slowed down. He slowed down a lot. He, in practice earlier today, ran a 29.25 and went 29.78 when he went out for his qualifying run.
Well, let's see what Paul Menard does. Paul Menard was 27th in practice. He ran a 27.85. Obviously, he's run a lot quicker than Joey Gase was able to run.
While we're watching Paul Menard, let's go to Marty.
Just checked in with a couple of crew chiefs to answer the question of why all these teams pulled out to the end of pit road and now are sitting, and they say it's because they don't want to be stuck in line. Also, this line goes kind of in front of where the cars are, so you can easily get blocked into your stall as well. So really, you're more positioning yourself for when you do want to go out, and you'll see some of these cars also have left enough of a gap so they can pull out, like Greg Biffle did a moment ago. He's out on the track right now, Rick.
Greg Biffle on the track. As you mentioned, Paul Menard now has set the bar as far as what everyone is looking at. He went out in practice earlier, ran under 28 seconds, but in this lap, in this qualifying session, he's 28 flat.
So the one argument may be to these slower speeds, we had a tremendous amount of Xfinity Series practice between Cup practice and now, and while the temperatures have only dropped a little bit, you see the racetrack. Look at all the tire marks as you see Greg Biffle coast around there off the exit of turn 2. That's rubber that's been put down by those Xfinity cars. And Jeff, you know as well as anyone how grippy this racetrack is when it's green and fresh without a lot of time on it. Well, now we're looking at a track that has a tremendous amount of time on it and tons of laps.
Yeah, it does change the racetrack a great deal. I think one thing, too, these teams are thinking is that you almost have to view this as one shot. Because the chance that you're going to run faster your second time out is pretty low. Unless you made a mistake, unless you got out of the groove, unless your car was just horrible, you're not going to go out and run faster, I don't think, because of the tire wear. So the teams really, I believe, have to think about this as a one-lap only opportunity.
My only other concern, though, Rick, is as we've documented, one of the fastest mile-and-a-halfs we go to, so aerodynamics play a huge role. You know, as we see Jamie McMurray right here coming to take the green flag, he doesn't want another car on this entire straightaway. Even though you wouldn't think 20, 30, 40 car lengths wouldn't make a difference, I think it perhaps could. So as he misses the bottom of 1 and 2, though, runs up the racetrack, and you see the time going into the red. That was definitely not a good-looking turn 1. We'll see if he can get it back in turns 3 and 4.
He was 23rd in practice at a 28 flat.
And
maybe he's trying to meet it.
I was going to say, it's hard to believe he would miss both ends of the racetrack.
Yeah, I think that was on purpose.
You think the bumps are any different on groove up?
I think it's rough everywhere.
28.13 for Jamie McMurray. That is second quickest, just ahead of Greg Biffle, 28.25. Joey Gase, again, 29.78. Only 5 cars have been on the track, and it's about 5 minutes into this first session.
We're starting to see a little bit of impatience as we see the 6 right here of Trevor Bayne. I wanted to call it the 6, but that bright yellow nose on this Advocare Ford, I didn't recognize it. I knew it was the 6, but I couldn't get myself to say it. It's a different look, normally a white car.
And in the green already, right at the start of this lap, but then entering 1, right back into the red and going the wrong direction.
Did not look good at all. The car looked like it was sliding up the racetrack the whole corner.
And this lap isn't going to be great for Trevor Bayne, but he had a really good week. They announced Advocare is coming back for 3 years, and Trevor Bayne re-signed his contract for 3 years as well. So a little bit of job security, and hopefully that'll give some stability to Roush Fenway.
They can continue to work to gain ground on the rest of the teams. Trevor Bayne slotted 4th after that lap, 28.47, riding along with Alex Bowman. And he's got his hands full, it looks like, as he comes out of turn 4. He's 4th quick now at 28 24:36.
And he slowed down about a half a second from when he ran in practice. So far, Alex Bowman's probably lost the most amount of speed from what they were able to run in practice.
Man, Austin Dillon's car, it rotated into turn one. I thought it was loose, but I think it cut the right amount. He got back into the gas. We saw some sparks off the left front splitter. He carried the momentum. Now he lost some speed here down in 3 and 4.
See if he can maintain in the green, though. It looks like he will. And Austin Dillon is going to be fastest at 27.96. Everyone will be judging their speed off of Austin Dillon now until we have 24 that have been out on the track. Again, the top 24 will advance into the second round. Michael Annett on the left side. Announcement earlier this week. Michael Annett would race for Junior Motorsports in 2017.
You know, we've heard a lot of news about the Xfinity Series and the Truck Series about next year, but really in the Cup Series we haven't heard much. Like the silly season doesn't seem like it started just yet. Or maybe it started, it just hadn't finished.
We do know that the 15 of Clint Boyer, he will race in the 14 next year, as Tony Stewart will be retiring. 17 of Ricky Stenhouse Jr.
Now, he picked up a lot. He was actually, he did not pick up that much, but he didn't lose as much as some other people have lost.
28-24 for Ricky Stenhouse Jr. He's fourth. So now we see Chris Buescher in the 34. What a season it's been for the 34 team and Chris Buescher.
Danica Patrick, she's right there at Austin Dillon's speed. They had good speed in Martinsville. Didn't necessarily finish all that great, but had good speed in practice and in qualifying.
Danica Patrick is third quickest at a 28:13.
And here's a car that consistently ran good laps in practice while he ended up in the 8th position. For most of that practice, he kept bouncing around the top 2 or 3. He's in the green, but barely in the green.
You know, a lot of people have missed the bottom. You know, it's almost like they're expecting more grip in the racetrack and it has less, and maybe they're overdriving the entry just a little bit.
Yeah, we see the 42 is up a lane again in 3 and 4. Kevin Harvick as well. I just wonder, maybe they're trying to get out of the rubber that the Xfinity guys laid down as Larson goes quickest. Marty?
And guys, Harvick now the quickest car as he turns a pretty quick lap there at 27.855. They have the advantage of the #1 draw here in qualifying, so they went straight from their stall out onto the racetrack for that qualifying lap. And you guys talk about having to get it done in the precise amount of time. Crew chiefs think that the fall off will be 0.3 of a second when they go back out for that second run. So Steve, you want your driver to do it in 1 lap if you can, save as much tire as possible.
Yeah, and that's what you're trying to manage, is to do it in 1 lap and save tire. I'm not sure that the 2 of those go together. Kevin Harvick had run a 45 in practice and only ran an 85 there. That's 0.4 of a second slower. So only really Kevin Harvick knows how hard he pushed it right there.
And can you save tires? I mean, that was, I think, the topic to start this off. Save a little tires so that you're better in the second round and the third round when the pole is determined.
Yeah, I really think you can. I think someone like Kevin Harvick and Kyle Larson can run a little less than 100% in this first round. As we see the 2 with a big moment right there. The car got loose, did a good job correcting, but definitely cost them some speed. I think that they can strategize a way to save tires in this round. The next round, without a doubt, they're going to have to be completely committed to try to advance.
Keselowski came in at 5th currently, right ahead of Casey Mears. Casey Mears with a good run.
And coming up, having to burp it a bit there. Kurt Busch goes 4th quickest on that lap, 27.98, just under 10 minutes to go.
And we got to remind the fans at home, remember, round 1, you only need to be in the top 24. That's why we're talking about trying to save tires. We're on board here with Kenseth. Man,
wow.
He's working hard,
really
isn't he?
That's high workload. High workload normally means slow speed in qualifying.
Kenseth 6th quickest at a 28.062. Now we see Ryan Newman on the clock. He's in the red. Again, this is compared to Kevin Harvick right now, the fastest lap that has been turned. We'll start comparing these drivers to 24th now that 24 cars have been on the track. There's 14 of Tony Stewart. Eddie Gossage and Texas Motor Speedway has shown Tony Stewart a grand weekend. On the back of Big Hoss, the giant big screen TV on the backstretch. On the back of that is the number 14 in lights. They're giving out 30,000 bobblehead dolls of Tony Stewart to the first 30,000 to come on Sunday. As now Denny Hamlin on the clock, and that was compared to 24th. Hamlin comfortably in the top 24, in third with that lap.
You know, as we start to compare to 24th, though, it doesn't take long to realize, you know, we have starting really with Trevor Bayne, Casey Kane, Alex Bowman. I don't see any way that these lap times are going to hold up, all the way up to perhaps Boyer and Biffle.
Carl Edwards goes 5th quickest with that lap, 27.97. So 28.1, maybe even 28.2 potentially could make it into the second round.
Yeah, I think that really, I don't feel really good about the lap times until I get up to about Jamie McMurray and Danica Patrick. I'm not sure there's 8 cars that can move up through, and I'm not sure cars can go out and run faster on the next run. So we'll have to see, but I think that those 2 cars are the first really safe cars into the next round.
Chase Elliott is in the green. Matt DiBenedetto was in the green, but slid back into the red. Landon Castle on the track now. Regan Smith in the green.
Great lap by Chase Elliott, second quick. And Regan Smith is going to move up into the top 24.
He was 22nd quickest.
There's still a lot of good cars to go. Kyle Busch, Joey Logano, Jimmy Johnson.
We didn't see a lot of speed out of Jimmy Johnson in that first practice, but as we heard from him just before he climbed into the car, he feels like they've got something that they can get out there on the track and make it into the top 24 and potentially even into the top 12. David Reagan on the clock and starting off in the red. He's about 2/100ths, and then a great turn 1 put him into the green, and down the back stretch he goes back to the red.
Well, we're getting ready to see that line shift quickly. I believe we have Joey Logano on the racetrack. The 78 of Martin Truex Jr. also joining the fray, and then the 48 is the real big question mark. Did they repair this 48 car? Was it only one set of tires, as Jimmy mentioned, or is the car still lacking the lap time it needs to advance?
Kyle Busch in the green, and a lot of sparks coming out from the back of the 18.
Remember, this is the backup car for Kyle Busch. He wrecked really early in practice. It looks like this backup car, though, has been adjusted on well. This lap is going to easily get him through as he still fights the wheel there in the corner next to the turn 4.
Busch, Logano, and Truex Jr. All 3 looking to get into the top 24. Kyle Busch, top of the chart with that lap.
Until Logano ran.
And Logano goes and outdoes him. 27.79 for Joey Logano. Then Martin Truex Jr., 5th quickest at 27.94. So now it's Michael McDowell in the 95 right on the cut line. His lap at 28.39.
What that's done is on the left side of your screen here, you currently see the top 24. Well, we're going to shift that for you guys because we have Alex Bowman now below the cut line in that 88 car. Casey Kane below the cut line. Trevor Bayne, Chris Buescher, Landon Castle.
We listened in to the 48 radio. Jimmy Johnson and team just moments ago. Here's what they had to say.
Jimmy, sounds like from what we've got from a couple of our teammates is still that entry into 1, making sure not sliding through the front, and they put up decent laps.
And that goes back to what you were saying, Jeff. What Chad was explaining to Jimmy there is don't carry so much speed in that the front tires can't turn. Once you slide on corner entry and go up the racetrack, the time's gone. You can't make it back up.
And he must have been getting that information from Chase Elliott because he's 4th, but the other two teammates are not in the top 24 right now. Alex Bowman in 27th and Casey Kane in 29th.
And that's a good job of using the information available. We talk about why would you wait? Well, that's one reason. That's one strategy that the 88 perhaps told something over the radio to Greg, or perhaps Chad was listening in that this is what I struggle with. Maybe agreed with what Casey Kane struggled with and allowed Chad to give Jimmy that extra information.
And it's hard when you go somewhere and you're thinking the track's going to pick up, you're thinking it's going to have more speed. it's hard not to drive in the corner a little bit harder. But once you drive in the corner and the track has less speed, you're done. You overcommitted, and now you just can't get back to the bottom, and you're never going to get the speed back.
So this lap for Chris Buescher, while it does not advance him into the top 24, that's a big pickup. He had run in the mid-50s. That's in the mid-30s. That's 0.2 of a second. So does that mean that that speed's available for a Clint Boyer, a McDowell, a Regan Smith, and Alex Bowman, some of the cars that are just below the cut line?
And just under 4 minutes to go as Trevor Bayne back out on track. We'll see if Trevor Bayne can speed up, have a better run.
It's a unique line down there in 3 and 4. High entry, low exit. He gained a little bit of speed back on corner exit, but not enough. He'll be 25th quick at the moment.
But he also was quicker than what he had ran the first time.
I'm a little surprised.
I'm a lot surprised.
And now we have Alex Bowman coming to take the green. Have they made adjustments? He currently is about 0.2 below the cut line. We've seen these other teams pick up 0.2. Can this 88 find time? He's so far in the green.
And he
gets to the bottom. Right, exactly.
So he did not overdrive turn 1. He learned that from the first time, made the adjustment. They probably adjusted the car as well, and he's actually running quicker. Let's see if he can carry it into 3.
Absolutely. Biffle, Stenhouse, McMurray above the cut line. They have to be seeing this and getting prepared to go back on the track. He's got 88, has easily improved, and is going to make the top 24 currently.
2.5 minutes to go. If somebody wants to get out there on track, they've got to be watching the clock. As Bowman goes to 21st quickest at a 28.13.
The one I believe has the best chance is Casey Kane. Kane, he's down in 32nd. Ran a 28.44. The pole's a 27.79, so way off on that run. So I have a feeling he has some room left to gain some.
And guys, what a big improvement we've seen out of this 95 car. Todd Parrott has went over there a few weeks ago, and ever since he's joined this 95, it has significantly moved up the running order.
Michael McDowell still in the red, though, as he was trying to advance, move up to the second round. As we watch Michael McDowell, he's probably one driver who, when I watched qualifying here, when he was driving for Michael Waltrip Racing, I got a true sense of the speed and what takes place at this racetrack.
Vicious hit. Sorry. Got loose on corner entry. We've been talking about that all day and just overcorrected a little bit. The car got in the safer barrier, and thank goodness for the safer barrier, but what a wild ride.
Safer barrier and the safety of these cars, because Michael McDowell got out of the car on his own power, walked to the ambulance.
You know, we all talk about 200 miles an hour, and it is ridiculously fast, but sometimes it's hard to really appreciate it until something goes wrong. And that car, I mean, it looked like a model. It didn't look real as it flew through the air, tumbling down the banking.
So I was sitting in my car getting ready to go qualify, and of course I was sitting on pit road because I couldn't see it. So my car owner, Richard Childress, gets on the radio and says, "Wow, that was huge." And I'm thinking, wait a minute, you don't say that to a guy getting ready to go back on the racetrack. See, Biffle, he just had to bail out of his lap, got in the corner, and got way up the racetrack. So right now, Casey Kane, he's on the racetrack. Let's see if he can learn the lessons that we saw his teammate Bowman learn.
Ricky Stenhouse Jr.
Not gonna happen.
On the cut line at 28.24.
You saw Kane's car wiggling on corner entry, had to get off the racetrack, killed the speed. He's going to have a remarkable 3 and 4 to make the pace up. It's heading the right way, but I just don't think he can gain enough.
20 seconds to go. And Casey Kane is not going to advance into the top 24. With 10 seconds to go, there's a couple cars on the track. Chris Buescher and David Reagan are on the clock, but still trending in the red. And Buescher actually probably a little bit too close to the 23 as they come out of 4 and across the finish line. Stenhouse Jr. is going to hang on and will advance to the second round.
Rick, how about that? 24th, Roush Fenway, Ricky Stenhouse Jr. 25th, Roush Fenway, Greg Biffle. 26th, Roush Fenway, Trevor Bayne. So right on top of one another, but only one able to advance.
Yeah, watch Casey Kane as he enters turn 1. Just can't get the car to the bottom. Then right here, it's that bump. Has to chase the car up the racetrack. So right now, the lap's done. There's no way you can make it up that much ground in turns 3 and 4.
All 8 of the chase drivers will advance into the second round. We'll hear from a few drivers when we come back. After the first round, the drivers that do not advance to round number 2, this is where they will start on Sunday. Greg Biffle, Trevor Bayne, 2 Roush Fenway drivers just missing the second round, all the way back down to Josh Wise, who will start 40th. Let's go to Marty.
So close for Trevor Bayne and his race team, and you guys were able to pick up time when you went back out, Trevor. Was that improvements you made to the car, or is that something we're seeing with a tire here in qualifying?
Yeah, I think we made a big gain the second run, just not enough. In practice, we thought we had a top 10 car with our balance the way it was, and after all the other series have been on the racetrack, it just tightened up a lot, and we missed it the first run. Went down in 1 and 2, and it never turned. So we came in, freed it up a lot, picked up some, but missed it for the second round there. So that's a little disappointing when you know you got a fast race car, but it looks good with the Still Legacy Foundation on there with Advocare this weekend. We appreciate their support, and we love supporting them and what they do. Man, we wanted to qualify good, but if we can get it driving like it did earlier today, we can race well.
Speaking of Advocare, that's not going to, missing the top 24 is not going to wipe the smile off your face. Congratulations on the new deal and that coming together. And how comforting is that to know that you're going to be around for 3 more years at Roush Fenway?
Yeah, this is the first time in my career I've had something more than a year-to-year deal. And Jack has stood behind me at Roush Fenway Racing, but to have Advocare come in and show that kind of commitment, it's just incredible. And to see what they've done with us the last 3 years, stepping up and doing all that they've done for my career, I can't thank them enough. And we're in their back door here in Texas, so it's a good time to announce it. They're about 45 minutes away in Plano with their corporate office, but obviously they have independent distributors all across the country that we get to meet all the time. But we're really thankful for Advocare and their products and the great people that they are, and happy to have them on our race car.
Congratulations to Trevor, no doubt about it. Rick?
Thanks, Marty. Coming up next, it's round 2. Who will be able to advance to round 3? The fastest 12 will be determined next. Watch the chase for the NASCAR Sprint Cup with the NBC Sports app and get closer with additional camera angles, driver stats, and track information. You can watch live anywhere on any device. You can find out more at NBCSports.com/live. Look at Matt Kenseth, the focus that he has behind the wheel. Take a look at the hands moving here on this first qualifying run. You can see it a little bit movement there, but we ride along with him and take another look.
Watch this right here. Watch this huge adjustment right there.
Hey, the 18 being pushed back into the garage. Marty, what's up?
They have a water leak, Rick. Remember, this is a backup car for Kyle Busch and his race team, and there was water all up and down pit road. That was from the 18 car. You cannot run the engine like that. So they were able to get that 1 lap in, but they are going to be done for qualifying, pushing the car back to the garage. We'll see if we can get a word with Kyle or Adam Stevens as to exactly why the water leak happened, but a water leak in the 18, and they'll have to call it quits for the rest of qualifying.
So 24th will be where Kyle Busch will start. Once again, take a look at practice. This is how it happened early in practice, coming through turn 4.
Yeah, coming to get the green the first time on the racetrack. So big moment right there. Hard impact into the wall. Had to get the backup car out. It makes me wonder when they plugged the cool down unit in after the first run if something was damaged in the water system at that point. I mean, I'm just...
Or not tight. Perhaps they had to change engines. So they unload the backup car, they get on the racetrack, but then to present that car, they may have put the engine in from their original car. Perhaps there was an engine change, perhaps just a loose-ish line, or some damage. We'll have to follow up on that, but 18 will be unable to continue. Once you go behind the wall, Rick, you're all done qualifying. So he'll start in the 24th position, assuming nobody else gets on the racetrack.
28-20 for Kenseth. Logano on the track now, trending in the green. This will more than likely be sub 28 seconds, and it is 27.98 for Logano. Denny Hamlin just taking the green. Keselowski running in the red again compared to Logano's time. As we see the sparks once again, it's a little bit darker here at Texas.
So Hamlin had the same trouble we've been talking about. Just could not find the bottom, getting into 1. Got tight. Got up in the second groove, hit that bump real hard. He started bottom out very aggressively.
And loose. He hangs on to it. Wow, that thing got loose coming out of 4.
Yeah, I don't think the lap time is as big as a concern for this 11 car as much as it is they still have this car.
Yeah.
Because I thought for sure we were going to see a second Joe Gibbs car head to a backup.
Take a look at this coming out of 4.
Right there, the car gets way loose. Really good save. And at that point, you know, you're just saving the race car. You've forgotten about making a lap time. Really nice job saving a race car. Huge difference between qualifying probably 23rd and having to get a backup car out.
Yeah.
Denny said, I'm tight in the center of 1 and 2. He said, I'm obviously wrecking off of turn 4.
He did everything but hit something.
Yes, he did. But a great save.
And remember, with 7 minutes left, 11 has the opportunity to come in and make adjustments and continue. We'll see. It's going to be hard. As these tires get older, it's going to be harder to put good laps together as Carl Edwards jumps to the top of the board.
And that's teammates to Denny Hamlin. Logano, Kurt Busch, they're the top 3. Kenseth is 5th. Denny Hamlin 9th of the 9 that have been on the track. Kevin Harvick now to the top of the charts. 27.82.
T1 so far.
Rodney, full of enthusiasm. I love Rodney on the radio. Winning, losing, that's his, and you know, that's Rodney. I pick on him, but he's very, you know, engineer, even-keeled engineer, and that's consistent on the radio.
Dillon up to 3rd. Good run. I think that'll be enough to stay there. I think that'll make the top 12 for sure.
I was a little surprised to see Logano not run as quick as he did in the first round. You know, teams in the first round that went out twice picked up speed. So I thought they could at least match their lap times from round 1, as we see McMurray running a 28.26 down in 9th. He ran a 28.13 in round 1, so he slowed down a little over 1/10 of a second.
What's Stewart doing here? Must have had an event in 1 and 2 and just bailed out.
Martin Truex Jr. rolling.
And that's the best play.
Track.
If you have a big issue,
that's right.
You may as well shut it down, wear off the tires, come in, cool it back down, and take another shot at it. 5.5 minutes left to go. So, you know, that's the right play.
I love this right here. Up the track, the 78 coming to get the green, trying to get the momentum built up. You saw the big spark. That really shows how bumpy this track is, right in the middle of the corner. And you see trending into the green, it did what he wanted to do. He carried more speed down the front stretch than Denny Hamlin did, and continues to track through the green through 1 and 2.
He's gaining on it all the way down the back straightaway. Now he's got, he knows he has a good lap going. Got to make sure you don't overdrive turn 3.
The concern, though, is he's compared to Hamlin, who had run a 79. So I'm not sure where this lap is going to really guarantee Truex to move forward, although he's making a lot of time off turn 4. A 16, I agree with you. I think that's going to be good enough.
The quickest. Marty, what's going on with the 18 team?
Well, Rick, I think needless to say, it's been a frustrating day for Adam Stevens and the 18 team. What happened here, Adam?
Well, I think it's a byproduct of pounding the fence before we even complete a lap in practice. In our hurry to change the motor and all the drivetrain afterwards. Apparently we didn't get the lower radiator hose completely clamped on the water neck out of the block, and proceeded to dump all the water out of it on pit road after our first run. So we're going to start 24th and get after him from there.
All right, a frustrating day for these guys. They will do the best they can Sunday afternoon, starting 24th, as Adam mentioned, but not a good day for the 18 team.
Well, and he's saying all the right things, but you can see it with how he's saying it, how frustrating that is for the crew chief. You see the water coming out of the 18 car there at practice. They had to change that engine. And just from behind from the get-go, we talked about what an accident could do, and this is the example. Behind from the get-go, forcing other mistakes.
But you guessed it right. You guessed that could have been the problem. That's just unacceptable, right? I mean, a team like that can't make that mistake. And I'm going to tell you, I think they got lucky. If that happens on the racetrack, if that lower hose comes loose on the racetrack, you're getting another car out.
Absolutely.
You are wrecking another car and getting another car out. So in a bad situation, it could have been worse.
And that's the conversation they need to have. And I know, listen, this isn't intramural sports. This is big-time sports. Right. This is NASCAR. This is the top-tier auto racing in the country. You're a mechanic on these cars because you're expected to be able to perform these engine changes and complete them to a satisfactory level. You're expected not to have accidents and wreck race cars. I know no one means for that to happen, but the simple fact is now we've seen 2 mistakes, 2 compounding mistakes. Where does that end? This could be the type of weekend that eliminates Kyle Busch from the chase.
The other good thing about it, you know, if you're going to look at the bright side of things, is that it probably did not damage the engine because he said it happened on pit road.
Right.
So the water didn't come out of it when the engine was running. So there's probably not another engine change required. So if there's another engine change required, they'd have to start in the back. So that's probably not the case. Paul Menard way up the racetrack. I thought it was going to kill his time, but it didn't hurt as bad as I thought it was going to.
And Jimmy Johnson down the backstretch he goes, but in the red quite a bit slower than Casey Mears.
I'm sorry, how about Paul Menard with this run? Starting to see some signs of speed out of RCR, and Paul Menard with the new crew chief.
Eric Almirola also on track. There's still 3 now, actually 2. We know Kyle Busch is not going to end up making it onto the track, so 2 still that have to go.
And remember, Alex Bowman had to run a couple times.
Who was that said it was raining in turn 2?
I don't know, but Alex Bowman's getting ready to figure it out.
Eric Almirola may have been saying it as he just comes off the track.
Oh, that is the opposite of what you want, Jeff. Run it up high to come up to speed, but breathing the gas doesn't help.
Yeah, killed that speed. You showed that Martin Truex Jr. had speed getting into turn 1. Well, Bowman to 12th is already slower than he needs to be just because of that bobble off of turn 4.
Yeah, we see right there though he did a nice job of not overdriving the corner, gain the lap time back. Now it's continuing to trend in the green. Can he get to the bottom of 3? Oh no, in part throttle. This is not going to be the 3 and 4 he's looking for, and you see the tracker hovering right around 300s. I don't believe the 88 is going to jump into the top 12.
16th for Alex Bowman. And now everyone that we have expected was going to take a lap has taken one, as Danica Patrick back out on the track for her second run here in the second round.
We also saw Tony Stewart go back out to try to make another run, and once again he backed out of the lap. So both of his runs in this second qualifying session, he did not complete the lap. With 28 seconds left, he's done.
Only one car at speed coming across the start-finish line right now. That's the 11 of Denny Hamlin. So Hamlin's going to try again, and he made it before the red and black were displayed, as does the 1 of Jamie McMurray. Dave.
When Denny first came in after that big moment, he said, Wheels, his crew chief, I'm not sure I want to risk it again for another run. Wheels reported later, we've wedged you up. You can tell us what that means, Steve. He doesn't think it will help turns 1 and 2, but he thinks it'll help him get through 3 and 4 and maybe advance to the final round.
Well, and he didn't get to the final round, but he did improve his position to the 17th spot. Just surprising is not what we expect to see out of this JGR camp. The 18 having mechanical issues, the 11 not fast enough, and then on the flip side we have Carl Edwards and Matt Kenseth both in the final round.
13th through 24th is now set. An eventful round 2 for the 18 and the 11. The 18 behind the wall because of a water issue, and the 11 coming out of turn 4 sliding. And he ends up 17th. Round 2 is complete. 13th through 24th is now set. 3 chase drivers that did not advance into the 3rd round. Denny Hamlin, Jimmy Johnson, and Kyle Busch. Tony Stewart, yes, that's an accurate lap. 4 minutes, 41 seconds. He bailed out on both of his attempts at qualifying in round 2. Dave.
Let's find out what it was like behind the wheel. Denny, how would you describe that first pass, and then how wary did it make you for the second one?
A little bit, but I mean, I still tried to get everything we could with our FedEx Camry, but just, yeah, I scorched those rear tires, coming off the turn 4, and knew that it would probably not have the grip that it needed to make it in the final round. So, it was a good try for our team, but obviously, we'll have to battle from, 17th or so. It's something we can definitely do when it comes Sunday. So we'll go to work on our race setup for tomorrow, and we'll see how we got it.
Keep an eye on the 11 come race time. Marty?
The JTG Daugherty team continuing to bring speed to the racetrack. A.J. Allmendinger barely missing that top 12 by 7 1/1000ths of a second. Can you think of where you could have found 7 1/1000ths of a second, A.J.?
I can easily kind of figure out a tenth and a half, but it kind of hurts the chest a little bit when you see 7 1/1000ths. But I think our average the last 3 or 4 races here has been about a 31st qualifying spot. So this race car, this Busch Speed Chevy's got a lot of speed in it. We just got too tight there. It changed a lot from this morning where there was a lot of grip on the racetrack, and we were loose in practice, so we overreacted and got way too tight the the qualifying session there, but watching the replay of the 11, I'm glad I was tight and not loose. So overall, solid day. Yeah, would love to have gotten the final round, but this car's got a lot of speed in it. Everybody back at the shop has put a lot of work into it, and I'm actually looking forward to going racing at Texas for once.
There you go, Rick. And I tell you what, this team has been awfully strong lately, looking for their 4th straight top 10 on Sunday.
And a smile on AJ Allmendinger's face. So he was 7 1,000th of a second. Casey Mears, 1 1,000th of a second. Austin mentioned advancing out of the round of 12, hoping that they could keep their championship hopes alive. It came down to the 11 and the 3. The 11, by that much in front of the 41, got a point so that they were ending up tied. And you see the 3 closest to us, and the 43, it was just a matter of feet. And Austin Dillon disappointed, obviously, that he didn't advance into the round of 8, but able to celebrate at Texas with RCR's first Texas pole. NASCAR racing from Texas is on NBC tomorrow. It's the future stars of the sport Xfinity Series. That coverage starts at 3:30 p.m. Eastern. Then Sunday, it's race 2 in the round of 8 for the Sprint Cup Series. Coverage beginning at 1 p.m. Let's go down to Dave Burns.
Second for Joey Logano here this evening. How would you describe how close that was?
Really frustrating. Last week we missed it by 8 thousandths. This week we missed it by 6 thousandths. So, gosh, second stings the most, by the way, but that's okay. Our team's tough, and we've shown some speed here in qualifying the last couple weeks. So I think this AAA Fusion's got a lot of speed and race trim as well. So I'm excited about it. It's a fun racetrack to race, and it's really racy as well. So starting towards the front there, this is a 500-mile race. We'll do our thing and end up in victory lane.
But when we're describing your losses in thousandths, right? That's a good place to be, right?
No.
Not in the loss part, but in the speed part.
No, it's not. The only good place to be is first.
All right, so how do we fix that tomorrow?
More gas, less brake. That's pretty much what we need. You know, we're not far off, like I said. It's we're mad about second. That's when your team's in a good spot.
All right, Joey Logano, second on Sunday. Hopefully he can get to first.
So close for Kevin Harvick and his race team. Were you thinking that there were a couple of spots where the car could have been a little bit better to Kevin to get you to the pole?
I think the car was better than the decisions that the driver made. You know, I went into turn 1 and I didn't get it all the way to the bottom and pointed in the right direction before the bump, and I got greedy and tried to leave the throttle down, and then it hit the bump, and then it got further out of the groove, so I had to wait longer. I got through 3 and 4 okay, but and to the green fine. But everybody on Busch Chevy did a good job. That's a lot better than the spring. We've worked hard on this particular race. We started in race trim today, and we're able to, you know, to have a lot of things to think about tonight, so we can get that cycle started for tomorrow's practice. So, feel like we're in, you know, we're in a good spot. The car's got good speed. If I could go back and do it again, I'd do a lot better.
Not bad for a guy who said, I feel older every lap qualifying. This place will make you feel old, won't it? And how tough is the qualifying effort here at Texas?
Well, it's hard because it's really fast, and you got to be committed to the throttle in order to run a fast lap, and then you got to bounce over all the bumps and be pointed in the right directions over all the bumps in order to make speed. And but in order to go faster, you have to have a lot of throttle. So when you make it and you get a good lap, you're happy about it, but it definitely takes your nerves away from you as you're done, and you you know, you realize that you made it again. So there's a lot of places to screw up. So as I get older, I feel like I screw up more.
Fortunately, he didn't mess up too many times today. Kevin Harvick will start 3rd on Sunday.
7th for Matt and the 20 team starting on Sunday. Matt, where was the pole lost for you today?
The corners, mostly. So we were just, you know, drove really great in practice, and the balance was good. The drivability was good. It was just, it was really good. And then in qualifying, we just had chopped up corner. You know, I just couldn't get to the corner, and then I couldn't get turned very good, and then it would spin up off. So it just kind of had to. The speed was actually spectacular for how bad I thought I drove. So this track's always real challenging. That's what makes it a lot of fun. You're sliding around a lot. I was trying to search for that perfect balance. We just kind of missed it for qualifying.
And I know this track is so fast. So how much different is race trim? Because you're still going over $190, right?
Yeah, I mean, race trim is different, but honestly, with this tire and as slick as the track was tonight, it was pretty slick. I'm not sure how different it'll be. So, but today, you know, before all the other divisions practiced and with the rain yesterday and everything, the track had a ton of grip and it was real clean. So we kind of anticipated it changing. It just changed a little more than we thought.
Coming into this race, a former winner here, how is your confidence about taking home the victory Sunday and moving on to the final at Homestead?
You know, my confidence is always high. It's been high since the day I walked in the doors at JGR, to be honest with you. So, I mean, I feel like if we execute and do our jobs, we definitely have the hardware capable of winning. But there's a lot of great race cars out there, and it's tough to win these races. But I feel like we're going to be competitive. We just got to try to do everything right on Sunday, and you know, a win would be great. If we don't get a win, hopefully we do everything right and get a good finish.
Kyle Larson winds up 5th in qualifying, and I was just asking you about your lap. You said that was okay, but a good effort for you guys. Where did you lose a little bit of time, Kyle?
Well, I was actually surprised to end up 5th. I thought I got really loose both ends, and I ran a faster lap than my second round. So I thought I was going to look down at my dash and see like a 40 or something and be 12th. But yeah, so I was shocked at that. Target Chevy was good that final round. You had a lot of speed. Race trim, we struggled today, so we'll have to work on that quite a bit for tomorrow to be good on Sunday. But confident in my guys that will be able to get it driving better for me.
I was going to ask you about that because you did spend some time in the top 10 in practice today, but where were the struggles in race trim this afternoon?
I was extremely loose on exit, so fought that in my Xfinity car too, so not sure what we got going on, but got to fix it.
And of course, for all these chasers, you'd love to spoil the party, right?
Yeah, definitely.
All right, Kyle Larson loves it when the high line comes in, and Dave, no doubt, it certainly comes in here at Texas.
Well, Carl Edwards would say, no, Kyle Larson, don't spoil the party. He wants a chaser to win himself. What did you try in qualifying, Carl, that didn't quite work out?
Speaking of Kyle Larson, I tried the high line, and I don't know why. I think it was mostly just because I didn't want to go to bed tonight and think, why didn't I try the high line? So it didn't work. Needless to say, we'll start 9th. I think we'll still get a pretty good pit stall. And the Sport Clips Camry is faster than that. So now we'll go to race trim tomorrow, hopefully dial it in. This is going to be a good race. I mean, the tires are falling off quite a bit. I think we're going to run all over the racetrack. It's going to be good.
Yeah, so you assured me that the high line is okay for racing still.
Oh, absolutely, guys. Anybody watching that might be driving a car on Sunday, the first couple laps go right to the top. It's spectacular.
Where are you going to go?
Anyway, what else is going on?
Yeah, so race strategy from Carl Edwards down here. No, but it will be the kind of track on Sunday you believe there's going to be a lot of lines.
It's going to be a lot of fun. I mean, this place is really, it's aged, and the surface is great. The tire's great, so it's going to be a good race.
All right, everybody else watch out, because whatever you do, Carl's going to do the opposite. Jeff Burton, is that the way it works?
Yeah, that's what I've noticed. Seems to work well. Just do whatever they don't do.
That's
what I always tried.
Your competition doesn't do. As we take a look at the starting grid, Austin Dillon, Joey Logano making up the first row.
Yeah, I think the interesting thing is there's a variety of faces in this top 8. We see Paul Menard right there in row 3, Ryan Blaney in row 4. Some guys without that In the Chase logo, making it known that they're still here, still trying to get themselves a race win.
Back 5th through 8th as far as rows go. 2 chasers in row 5 with Carl Edwards and Kurt Busch.
Would anybody be surprised if row 6 won this race on Sunday? Chase Elliott could get his first win. Been knocking on the door. Martin Truex Jr., we know how good he is on the mile and a half.
Have to go back here into the 9th row to find Denny Hamlin after a wild ride in qualifying, hanging on to it. The second round, he doesn't advance out of that round.
First time all year, Denny Hamlin hasn't made the final round of qualifying. Impressive streak, but it's come to an end here at Texas. And then you see back there in row 12, Tony Stewart will make his final start here at Texas, and next to him, defending champ Kyle Busch has had an eventful day. We'll see how the rest of the weekend treats him.
A little bit deeper through the field. Biffle, Trevor Bayne, teammates side by side in row 13.
I know Casey Kane's disappointed. We've seen some speed from that team lately, been making improvements, but a little bit of a step back this afternoon.
And the final 4 rows. Matt DiBenedetto and Castle in row 17. All the way back to Joey Gase and Josh Wise making up the final row. Again, these drivers will all have an opportunity tomorrow to get back out on the track to work on their race setups. Superstar California Chrome headlines the action at Santa Anita tomorrow, poised to finish with an undefeated season. Breeders' Cup World Championships coverage tomorrow at 2:30 p.m. Eastern on NBCSN, and it all leads up to the $6 million Classic Saturday night at 8 p.m. on NBC. Dave.
Rick, Brad Keselowski said he likes horses, horsepower. And you had some of that qualifying fourth this evening. And then I saw these moves to the hauler, back to the car. You got some nervous energy and ideas you want to apply here?
I want to win another race and finish out the year with the most wins. I think our team is very capable of that. Like I said, good qualifying effort. We missed the pole by, was it 25 hundredths of a second? This has got to be one of the closest qualifying efforts of the year for NASCAR Sprint Cup. So it's kind of aggravating, but also good. We know we're right there. We have a shot at being very competitive all weekend here, and want to make sure we make the most of it.
What do you focus on tomorrow, Brad? Where do you like to get your game on here at Texas?
You're going to have the long run speed. Texas is a long run speed race. It's 500 miles. Almost always have 2 or 3 fuel runs within the race. So those long runs really set the track position that can dictate the finishes at the end.
So if I'm watching at home, don't worry so much about the single lap speeds. Really watch those averages tomorrow?
Absolutely. So, you want to be fast in a short run, but more importantly, you got to be fast in those long runs.
All right. I'm going to let you go back to the car. Think about horsepower and all the ideas you got here so he can put together